And that's where we got to wonder. But before we get to the opposite side of the semifinals, we got to pay attention to the semifinals because we have seen a swap of sides, Josh. So, Darius is going to get banned, yeah?
Yeah, I have to imagine so. It's honestly less important than I think the Endless Disc made it out to be, simply because you can't pick Darius blind either, right?
That's
He's
true,
got some
yeah.
really, really poor matchups, and since you now have the counter pick, as long as you don't pick the top lane early, you don't have to ban the Darius.
That's true.
Oh, well,
But
they do it anyway.
You
All
know
right,
what? They're going to do it anyway.
It's not a bad ban, right?
It's not
just
bad.
like,
I would have liked it in the second rotation. You know, I think first rotation. I don't think we really see blue side would pick top lane that early on unless you're planning to pick a top lane early on. But instead, you know what? Let's get rid of Let's get rid of your best champions for the one-on-one. Darius and Syndra being taken away, and that means a Gray's first pick is going to be locked in for Mr. Emotional. Wu did pretty good in that first game.
yeah. I've been a little bit surprised at the under prioritization of Jhin so far in this tournament, even despite the.
Yeah. Oh, that's why they banned Darius. That's why they banned Darius.
Okay.
It's
a combo, right? Like, it's definitely a drafting combo that you can go for, and it still does the same thing that this combo has done for seasons at this point. But that,
You know, if we take a look at Cloud9 Amateur, Rafa would be very happy. He's a
Rafa
Cloud9
would be
fanboy.
very happy.
He's a Cloud9 fanboy. He loves Italy, and he also loves either me or you playing Renekton, so we can spoon feed him a lot of kills. You know, so maybe Mark's the one drafting for Cloud9 Amateur. Mr. Rafa, if you're in chat, please confirm for all of us that you are indeed drafting for that squad. But for Mirage, they did pick the Ornn blind into the Renekton, potentially flex. And I just heard word from our producer that Orianna is not, in fact, Orianna. It is Lucian. So we're going to see a Lucian flex on the Mirage side.
Yeah, and yet again, another double marksman composition coming out this game. And it is kind of difficult for Nidalee Renekton to deal with the double marksman later on in the game. And the Braum coming through is very surprising to me when
early.
there are... Yeah, both Leona and Alistar are still available. Braum does okay into them, but it's a very defensive pick, and it says to me that Wixie and Tempos are not looking to fight in the bottom lane. So, but on the other hand, it means that you have to run over this Ornn. Like, you are kind of running out of tools to potentially make a lot of plays on the bottom side of the map, and Dragoon into Speedo had such a good game last time that I worry about how the nerves might actually shake out this time around.
I mean, I understand why they picked Braum, knowing that Dragoon is on the Ornn and, you know, the stop called the Forge Gods. But Trevor's down to this, man. Like, he's down to counter pick the heck out of the support matchup. You already have a tank on your top side. You need some magic damage. I honestly don't see a reason why you don't pick up, like, Brand on the bottom side, or you don't pick up, like, some crazy mage to deal with Braum. I mean, if I'm Mirage, and if I'm playing the way Mirage is doing, you might as well go that app.
Yeah, I think it's totally reasonable. I also don't hate like a Zyra here, even though it's not a champion we see particularly often, simply because Zyra provides disengage from so far the very limited engage potential coming out from the Cloud9 amateur scene, which is currently Renekton diving in. And if you once again build one of these fan compositions, it plays very well into limited dive, because right now there's not a lot of wave clear, there's not a lot of potential aggression that they can do, and against Kai'Sa struggles against Zyra too.
Yeah, let's see what Trevor has up in his sleeve, as Cloud9's definitely picking composition that's looking to dive in, definitely going to put XU on the mark so that he can snowball himself and the rest of his team for his composition. For sure, Wixie and Temples are definitely taking a avenue of not looking to 2v2 as much, as we'll have to see what the rest of Mirage will be locking in. But so far, a lot of fluid composition coming in from Mirage. I'm just very curious what they want to do.
Here.
Oh, they
okay,
picked Nivea.
super fan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like this pick. It just means that Trevor gets the last agency of what he wants to do with the Lucian. Knowing that Lucian has a good matchup into the Kai'Sa too, as we saw in not Academy versus the new Rising. God, I'm trying to remember all the team names. But yeah, like it's definitely looking pretty good. So we'll have to see what they pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they can do here, right? They can pick another front line or to lean more heavily to the front to the back. They can they pick an Enchanter, and that makes these double marksmen really, really scary. And the limited engage tools that Cloud9 Amateur have makes it kind of difficult because they need to pick something that is engaging but also high damage, and there's like AP Malphite.
Oh, whoa, oh, whoa, okay.
Do I like
that? Do you like that, Josh?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You're putting a lot of I think you're telling Mirage though that Captain Shrimps has to 1v9 on the Xerath, because if he's missing those skill shots from downtown, they're gonna be pretty healthy on Mirage's squad, you know.
Sure, but the thing is, like, Mirage doesn't engage with their composition, right? They haven't worn into a ROM, so the engage tools that they had aren't particularly good. They play at like the short to medium range, and you now have Nidalee, Kai'Sa, Xerath, who, even though they're easy to jump on, like if you can get to them, that's a lot of poke that you gotta take. So it's a hard pivot, and now this Renekton feels really out of place, but he's just there to not die, right? Like, that's the thing. He just doesn't lose early game. He provides enough strength that you can actually get to when all these poke champions are online. So I really like the last minute pivot. Now they have to show that they can play.
Yeah. That's the gigantic question mark that's in all our heads. Can Captain Shrimps pilot this Xerath at a very efficient level? And I know he's a very hard champion for a lot of mid laners to learn because of how drastic his playstyle is going to be. He's more of like a siege artillery mage, just much like a Nivea, where he just wants to sit up at a turret or poke someone down at a turret or at an objective, compared to actually just looking to straight up fight. But I like the idea that what you're going for. Renekton's gonna snowball the Nidalee, and eventually you have 3 people throwing, long range spells at you, and you have to try and play dodgeball. If it works out, I mean, I could definitely see Cloud9 take it if they get a really good lead.
Yeah, I don't even think they have to get that large of a lead. As long as this poke composition is doing okay, then they're going to be in a fantastic spot. They just need to get to objectives first, and they've already showed that they are a better macro positional team than Mirage overall. So as long as they don't get caught out and give over a bunch of gold early on, it should be very effective for them. So I think we are going to have a really interesting game on our hands, but it is also a big risk, right? So don't be surprised. Cloud9 either win this game by dragging it out really long, or they lose really spectacularly because they get run over. So it's the kind of risk that, like, if it doesn't work out, you can't be too upset at them, because I think it's more likely to work out than it doesn't, but its fail state is a lot more spectacular looking than its success state.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Might as well try and go for a Hail Mary. This is potentially your last game. If you were to take a loss, it's also your way to come back and fight against Mirage here. I so far, when we look at Cloud9, I think their red side draft is a lot better. They're giving Captain Shrimps a lot more agency on what he freely gets to pick, and we'll have to see if he can pilot it very well. I haven't commentated Xerath in a very long time, so also even in Nivea too. We heard from the interview from Apollo that and from Niberia that DNA is rocking a C-tier skin, so Niberia will be very sad because DNA is rocking the red, white, and blue.
Unlucky. It's all right. We will forgive him at some point. But hey,
well, Niberia won. I don't know about that.
Hey, nobody's died yet.
Okay.
Nobody's died. This is already a massive improvement over the first game. Walk. So
that's true. Hey, 1 minute's in. No one-on-one. I always like one-on-ones. Come on, fight.
But it's just an ego check right now. It's just like, I don't think like Xerath should ever win a level 1 fight against Anivia, right? It doesn't matter. Like, all right. We'll run it later. We'll see how it goes. But
just start W.
Yeah.
I'll help out.
True. I mean, it is a very consistent spell, right? So this is one of the interesting mid lanes where a lot of the time, whoa, you get a fan around, nice birdie.
Chicken. More birds.
Chicken. small birds. But this is a very interesting lane, and the fact that it kind of changes things where you tend to not want to stand in the minions as a Nivea because you want to force your opponent to burn mana consistently, trying to poke you off on the sides. But it means you also need to devote vision in order for you to play closer to one of these brushes. So it'll be interesting to see how XU chooses to take advantage of that, if he does, because it is something where if he's wrong and play emotionals there first, he could also get punished really heavily for it. So it really turns the variance up of this kind of game pretty heavily.
Yeah, I actually want to pay attention to the jungles though, Josh, as we do see a full clear that happened for XU going onto the top side, of course playing for Speedo. We also see Emotional also doing the same thing as he's clearing his camps and moving to the top side too. I think this is early game battle is definitely going to be all about them when it comes to making sure Cloud9 doesn't snowball XU. Oh, he missed the spear. Oh, XU!
Ha. Well. Nobody saw that. It's alright. We're moving on.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
He hasn't died yet.
They don't know that XU lost Flash. I think that's something that they could play around with, right?
If they knew. If they knew.
Yeah.
But unfortunately they don't, and with Speedo backing away, he's gonna be able to come back to lane without really losing anything because Dragoon has frozen this lane here, and instead Play Emotional is gonna walk down to the bottom side of the map and pick up this Scuttle Crab. So overall, the game relatively even when all is said and done. Just a small advantage currently going over in XU's favor in terms of CS, but the other lanes definitely going in Mirage's favor so far.
I will say that the wave for Dragoon wasn't in a good spot, as you can see. Definitely has a good amount. Actually, didn't actually stay around though to potentially let Speedo set himself up. Actually, Dragoon's down to fight this one-on-one. That's a better end of the trade, but Cold Meek heals you for a good amount along with the Conqueror, so should even that trade up nice and well. Speedo's down to down to low. Dragoon's gonna flash away. We're back down to a 1-on-1. Speedo might be able to take this, but unfortunately, already used the flash means that he's unable to secure it. So both top laners are walking away with a lot of wounds.
Yeah, I don't think this is the worst thing ever for Dragoon, because he is going to be able to teleport back and be relatively healthy and not lose too many minions, actually. So we'll see him go right on back, and the wave hasn't crashed quite yet. And if Speedo overextends, we could see a pretty big reverse, and now with no flashes, it again turns up the variance where the smaller mistakes become amplified way faster, just like this one.
Ooh, DNA has to see if he can get out. Already turned into egg form. This isn't looking pretty good, but Emotional is here to back himself up. XU is around to see if he can throw a spear at the bird. Wants to do some hunting, but unfortunately unable to pounce on his prey.
Yeah. Oh boy, he still has flash, so he should be okay, and Graves is here.
XU doesn't have flash, but I don't know if they know it. He actually managed to pounce over the wall. So looking pretty good on them as they do go for solid defense, and the chicken still lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they would have been more aggressive if they knew that there was no flash on the Nidalee. But I expect, like, I remember reading a Reddit thread a long time ago about this. I think he was like a diamond jungler, where he would say that whenever he finishes his first buff in his clear, he instantly flashes. So that he instantly flashes so that he knows when the next buff is going to be up. And now on the top side of the map, hey, it's the classic combo.
What an interesting, what an interesting way to time something else. Dragoon doesn't have flash, so he's definitely gonna fall down, especially with the setup from Speedo and looking to stun himself up. So, whoop! We see the Arcane Barrage come through from Captain.
Wait,
what? Actually, Dragoon's gonna turn. Oh, okay. Oh, we were kind of afraid, but XU does manage to take the first blood for himself.
Yeah, he canceled the auto attack. It actually would have been very close if he got the auto attack off right there.
Yeah. But right now, still looking to see if Cloud9 can make sure they play towards their early game win con, which they're setting themselves up for a little bit. So definitely like their game plan so far.
Yeah. The big thing though is that their bottom lane in particular is I used to theory craft this quite a bit. What Dragoon's doing right now, where you just take Ghost and run back to lane, just like, because the idea is if it's fast enough to run back to lane, you don't need to take teleport because Ghost is on such a low cooldown that you're able to run back to lane really effectively. Turns out it is very ineffective. You don't save that much time taking Ghost. But I tried for a long time to see if this was going to be worth it. Instead, he's just cycling that pretty quickly. But overall, I still like the idea, and now we are seeing a nearly 1,000 gold lead popping out for Cloud9 Amateur, but DNA is now level 6, does have access to the ultimate, and so we might start seeing a little bit more skirmishing power coming out from the rest of the team. And it's like, thank you for the replay, Joe.
He's running.
He's running.
Yeah, he's blue.
Yeah, you save about 5 seconds on average, based on like your champion's like boots and what kind of base movement speed you already have, which is not fast enough to genuinely make a difference.
I mean, that's not bad. 5 seconds could mean you making sure the wave is stopped. So it's very conditional, but let's see what happens. XU and Emotional are fighting over these wolves. It looks like Emotional will be able to get the victory of that. Blue Off's the main target, though. So let's see how Vex can actually manage to take it. Yeah,
this is big. I mean, even just forcing Play Emotional to smite it is pretty significant, because it means that DNA doesn't have it, and it looks like DNA is just leaving. So yeah, XU is going to be able to pick it up, and I don't think Dragoon wants to take this fight.
Yeah, he does back off to the turret, so he'll be okay. But for DNA, definitely going to be pretty sad knowing that he's unable to just match the wave clear from Captain Shrimps. And that's honestly a pretty big thing about this mid lane, knowing that these two are just basically artillery mages that are just going to be clearing left and right. Actually, just still looking to see if he could play around with Emotional, as this Gromp is going to get reset again. Guns versus Spear. Spear's winning. Gromp's going to swap.
Neither of them have smite. This is them literally just sitting here. And honestly, it's really good for Cloud9, right? Holding Graves here and not letting him snowball is such a big deal. And Captain Shrimps just has more time to play. Oh my, dash over and smite it. You won't.
Come on. I love how the Gromp just reset like 5 times before that. Instead, they actually want to see if they can get the Crocodile instead of the Frog. Color Forger gets used onto Speedo. DNA is going to fight a 1-on-1 on the backside, but it's a 2-on-2 and a 1-on-1. DNA and Shrimps are just going at it evenly. Speedo and XU have lost a little bit more on their HP, but so far, the victor probably will be XU because he did take that Gromp.
Yeah. You know who the other really big victory this game is?
Who?
Meech.
Oh.
He's been left alone down here in the bottom lane. He's able to consistently push us in, and with no jungle attention whatsoever, this 2v2 is very Lululushin favored. And we can see just like the fact that they are building a pretty big CS lead and are now starting to take off plates. But that could change here pretty quickly, as we do have a dragon, and now with Play Emotional now moving down to the bottom side of the map, we might actually look for an opportunity for something bigger.
Yeah, but it's also near 100 CS for Meech right now at the 10-minute mark. That's almost near perfect. 10 CS a minute, which is pretty good on Meech. Like you said, haven't been touched overall. Also, Emotional's going to bot side, so it's very tough for Wixie and Tempest to even try to fight a 2-on-2.
Yeah, for sure. And without information on where Play Emotional is, they do have to be very careful. The only thing they know right now is that he is not behind them because they have the ward in the Tri-Brush, but Meech and Trevor is able to go aggressive, and they commit the culling. And teleport.
That's gonna mean that Speedo wants to teleport in. Doesn't have any more mana, so Meech has to see if he can make it out. A good little ultimate from the growth of Trevor will make sure he stops here. DNA and Shrimps are also going to fight another 1-on-1, but DNA does not have the mana to continue onwards. It's going to flex a little bit in the mid lane, but a TP does get burned, actually from both top laners.
Yeah, and overall that seems to be pretty good for Meech and Trevor. Once again, they're going to be able to pick up another plate here, and because there's still so many minions, it's not going to affect their back timing if they don't want it to, but instead they're sticking around here with relatively low mana, which is a little bit surprising. Oh, this is just disrespectful.
Oh, okay. All right. It's a good thing he only had 1 level of the Rite of the Arcane. If he had 2, would have been a roasted bird in the mid lane. So.
But they had egg.
He did have egg. So that's true. He did have an egg. So he would have been okay. But you know, blowing ultimate, I'm not too sure.
That's an ego ult.
That was? All right. You know, I guess Captain Chip's just egoing on all of us, Josh. That's what he wants to do.
Hey man, I mean he's doing pretty good this time around. Like, this is why he picked the Xerath, is because it doesn't interact with Anivia at the range that Anivia likes to interact at.
That's true.
So like, you know, he's able to do stuff like that because he's not going to get punished. You do not use your ult until the end of a duel anyway, right? You're not just going to throw it out. You're not gonna be like, oh, I'm standing in Nivea's ultimate. Now is the time to throw out the right of the arcade. You just gotta sit back and throw it out and, you know, harass people and look for last hits like they did, and not gonna take any punishment for it. And now we're starting to see DNA get pushed around, and Nivea, in fact, does have weaknesses. Zerath is one of them.
Yeah, we do see Cloud9 walking on the bottom side jungle because of the mid lane priority that's already been established. As you said, Camp Shrimps can just bully out DNA in the mid lane to make sure you just are able to put some of these wards. Definitely like it so far. 3 minutes in and the Inferno Drake will come up, so we definitely see what the clear objective is for Cloud9 Amateur is going to be. Wondering what they're going to do to tackle Meech, as he did pick up a Kraken Slayer instead of the Gale Force. He's sitting there under ward. I'm not sure if this is the right play, as Meech is going to get jumped on. He doesn't know, but the culling comes through. And actually, even then, Tempos managed to take him down. Trevor didn't even get in range to utilize the Wild Growth, so he has to use it on himself. Big mistakes come in. Right of the Arcane are coming through. 2 shots in. Xq's under the turret, and that's going to be one more auto touch that should be able to do it. But we take a look at Emotional. He's already looked to turn around one of them. Teleport comes from DNA. 1-on-1 comes in, and Emotional gets a double kill for himself. And also on the top side, it's a 1-on-1 too.
Wow, all over the map, little skirmishes going back and forth, but crucially, they are going back and forth. Everybody gets a little piece of the action throughout all of that, and that's going to be really good for Cloud9 because they don't need to be ahead. They just need to not be so behind that they can just get run at by the members of Mirage, and they're currently staying very comfortably in that range, which means that as we start to get these items coming through, it's going to be very, very difficult for any member of Mirage to walk up.
Meech did fall down too, so that was a good amount of shutdown going over to Tempos. Of course, not ideal, but did go over to him. He's also opted for the Kraken Slayer too, which is surprising, knowing that he has to dodge a lot of these poke spells that, as you mentioned, in draft. So we'll have to see if Meech can actually utilize it to great effect, as we do see a Rift Shell being used in the mid lane from Xu.
I like how he just walked up to get that last hit on the turret. But it's worth it. Like, he just gets healed up from the Nidalee. It's just like the kind of play that a lot of people just wouldn't do. And so just like the fact that he has that kind of confidence. But anyway, we see Meech here. He doesn't realize that he's on this ward and instantly takes the full brunt of Wixie's burst. And then Tempos just like slaps him in the face. But then the overdive is really what hurts him on the other side. And I didn't really see this, but I'm surprised. Oh no, that's why.
Mistakes have been made.
Tragic.
You know, we saw a mistake in the jungle. We saw a mistake in this. Dragoon didn't need to walk back in. I think he would have been fine, but
I don't know. The slice and dice was up, so
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I don't think he could have gotten out, but I think Speedo choosing to go for the 1-for-1 there is, again, just like the kind of players that we're dealing with today. Like, they want to go for the exciting plays. Trading 1-for-1 is like, yeah, it's okay. I'll beat you next time. No worries.
I mean, I'm down. I'm always down for exciting fights here. I think for you though, you want to make sure these fights have a purpose, because we don't want a repeat of what happened in game 1 where they're just fighting for no reason, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like, we're gonna have a fight for a purpose here in like 15 seconds, and overall, it doesn't look like it's really set up for Mirage to have a lot of success.
DNA's gonna get poked down though. Speedo slice and dicing to force the flash from DNA, so it'll be okay. But Dragon is up for both these teams.
Yeah, I think this should pretty heavily go in favor of Cloud9 Amateur, right? Like, you have all your members here. Trevor and DNA are both poked out pretty low, and it's so hard for the side of Mirage to walk through the withering poke that is available to the members of Cloud9 that not smart to come in. You're even seeing that Play Emotional often go for the Immortal Shield Bow coming out for the Graves, simply so that he has the extra survivability throughout all of these fights, whereas Meech is instead opting to go for the Kraken Slayer, because he's still like, yeah, if I get in, I need to be able to do damage. I need to be a major threat when I actually have an opportunity to get in. And so it's just, again, very different styles of things that people are prioritizing in this fight. And now, this is good. I wish they had picked this up a little bit earlier when they could get the second one and also crash it. But hey, picking these up so you can start taking away objectives is going to be really important, because unlike a lot of other teams we've seen so far today, there is a ton of wave clear on Cloud9.
Yeah. So curious how you mentioned the Immortal Shield Bow and the Kraken Slayers. I don't think we saw a Gale Force come in this set. Even though in the first series of the game we saw 10 Gale Forces being built here, so it's very curious to see what these AD carries and these marksman players are prioritizing as. Speedo and Dragoon are Speedo and Dragoon be fighting here with Emotion coming in. What they want to do. Speedo's going to look to turn. Here comes right of the Arcane. Actually, he's going to help and turn everything around, but Emotional is still alive. Misses the last one, so Emotional still will be able to survive, especially with the Immortal Shield Bow. Dragoon has to walk away. Tempos is here, but they do get a kill for themselves. XU is around the back. See if he can nail one of these spears. Doesn't have the flash for himself. Looking to move forward, but looks like the retreat is successful.
Yeah, in the meantime, Meech was able to take down the bottom lane turret, and now they're going to be able to hit the inner turret, or excuse me, the mid lane turret quite a bit as well. And so this is something that we hadn't really talked about, is the thing about Cloud9 Amateur is they want to have everybody in the same place, right? The more poke you have, the more valuable it becomes. But this also means that Mirage can try and split the map pretty effectively. And Meech, right now, the only person who can realistically match him is the Renekton. But then the Renekton isn't with the Ornn, and the Ornn gets that free farm and continue getting later in the game and buy the ornament. So it is, it is an interesting spot where I'm a bit surprised, or rather, in about 5 to 10 minutes, I will be surprised if Cloud9 doesn't start living into the NARAM meme, but it'll actually be good. Like, it'll be really good because they have a fantastic ARAM team.
Yeah, this is where I wonder if Meech is actually just going to be a dedicated split pusher for the squad and see if he can pull members towards him. I think that might be a good play if they can't really deal with the poke as well, or if they're unable to get a solid flank from Dragoon. So we'll have to pay attention to how they want to allocate here, because I think that if they stick with the ARAM, I feel like they're going to lose.
Yeah, it'll not be good for Mirage. So they have to find some way to upset that balance of power, and that's generally either engaging or splitting the map. And Dragoon and Speedo, they continue to go head-to-head in it right now. You see that it is currently not very good for Dragoon on this Ornn. It'll get okay later on when you have more armor, but right now it is a very scary proposition.
Yeah, right as the King gets used from Captain Shrimp, Spear is going to be thrown out too. And this is where the poke comes in a very good siege format for the Cloud9 squad. Stun lands onto Emotional, but looks like they actually want to try and turn as the teleport comes falling through. I'm not sure if Tempos has a shield. He definitely does. Dragoon's waiting for it. Unfortunately, misses the E for the knockup, but that's where the turn comes in. Dragoon has to flash away, and now we see Speedo come in, but he has to actually immediately flash out.
What was that?
Falls down to collateral damage. Now they're seeing if they can jump on a Wixie. Mirage is looking to see if they can win this fight. Capture to see if we can throw any sort of artillery back away, but not a lot of these pokers are landing through. Tempos has to flash away too. But right now, still no one else looking to fall down. Dragoon progressing into the top of the quadrant, but they're going to call it back off.
Yeah, but the crucial member is still alive. Captain Shrimps is still up. He still has his flash, and he has a non-zero amount of mana. But, like, what does Dragoon do here to start? Like, he's trying to bait out Tempos from using the ultimate. He does that, and then he's just chilling, right? He takes a ton of damage, and then on the other side, Speedo does the same thing. He just takes a ton of damage over there, gets picked off, and finally Dragoon is like, all right, now we fight after I've lost half my health bar. So ends up being a lot of nothing, and even though they technically lost a member here, this is still a net win overall for the side of Cloud9 Amateur, because it means that they have more time in the game. The game is extending, and that's what they want. They want to annoy you out of the game. They want to be able to get to these fights first, and so far are going to be able to continue doing that.
Yeah, Josh, this is the classic case of playing a up close and personal rushdown champion versus a person who just likes to zone you, and that's where it doesn't look too good. As we see the Riley Arcane come flying through, only lands 2 and DNA doesn't fall down, but it is very tricky to try and see if you can close the gap, especially with the amount of tools Mirage has.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we were saying before, right? Like, the difference between this, like, this is their success case, right? They look, they are slowly poking people out, and it's not particularly visually exciting to watch, right? But it is very interesting to see how they're able to do it rather consistently, and ask the question how Mirage is going to be able to break it. But they're past the point of the game where it is likely they're going to get spectacularly run over like we saw in the first game. And so at this point, I mean, everybody else at this point should be strapping themselves in for a bit of a grind of a game as Cloud9 consistently outpositions Mirage and slowly takes all of these objectives with absolutely nothing Mirage can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like watching watching Samus play against Terry, man, in Smash it's just not fun. You're trying to get up close, you're trying to get personal, but then they're just throwing a bunch of projectiles on you, and you have to try and dodge. Yeah. Hard reads are what has to occur, but it's not looking too good because take a look at the mid lane, man. Cloud9 are just knocking at the door.
Yeah, they lose 2 turrets for 1 here, and this is kind of how the trading should go for basically the rest of the game. Because you can't even defensively siege as Mirage. Like, you have a wave clear from DNA, but at that point, instead of hitting the minions with their skill shots, Cloud9 just hits you. And it's like, okay, well, now I have to back. And you just do this, you rinse and repeat until Mirage finds an answer, right? Again, to refer back to the famous card game player, Kibler, there's no wrong threats, there's only wrong answers, and Mirage doesn't have any of them right now.
Yeah, just sitting here, waiting to see if they can find some sort of explosivity. I like what Cloud9 has done to temper the aggression of what Mirage has done compared to game 1. Instead of playing into Mirage's hands, they're forcing Mirage to play into theirs, and it's definitely working out well, especially when it comes to just stalling out the game. It's only been 9 kills, 23 minutes in, but it just feels like the action that has been going through has just been about poking, it's just been about walking around the map, setting out some vision, and also just farming. We'll have to wait if Mirage can actually find some sort of explosive team fight that's in favor for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I mean, right now they're trying to split the map a little bit, and they're not in a spot where they are strong enough to effectively do so. We keep coming back to the fact that Ornn is losing to Renekton in the split push at the moment, and that just limits their options really, really hard because, I mean, just start watching these skill shots as they go through. As Xu gets caught.
Yeah, gets stunned up, but then DNA gets stunned up in return. You see him to get push forward on a Tempos. Doesn't get stopped by it, but look at DNA. He's already turned into egg form. A good stop from Dragoon means that Tempos has to see if he can back off. One-on-one comes in. Dragoon's already looking to fall very low, but the turn is going back onto Speedo. Micha's taking him down, but then Dragoon has fallen on the wayside. It's a trade of top laners, but then Disengage has been called in for Mirage to back away from Captain Trimps and his artillery.
But guess who's alive?
Captain Trimps.
So everything that Mirage didn't matter. Literally nothing they do matters except for killing them.
All right.
And yeah, it's just like they stopped his ultimate, so this could have been worse. He only got 2 shots of the 4 off, but like as long as Captain Trimps is alive, Mirage can do nothing on them.
It just feels so suffocating to watch for Mirage, man. Like
it is.
You want to get in. This is like me watching you play, man. All you do is just suffocate other players to play the way you want. It's like, Josh, let's just fight one-on-one and just get down to it. And you're like, nah,
well, why? I'm winning.
Yeah, but why? I don't have to do anything. It's like, it's boring, dude.
But I win. All you need is the dub at the end.
But it's boring, man. Come on. That's the issue that we got going on, Josh. You're playing things that are so boring. God.
I'm sorry. I'll play less Snake.
Yeah, God. Freaking Snake abuser throwing grenades.
Less Snake, more Kirby.
More Kirby, more Mario. Come on. And even then, you play freaking Mario like throwing fireballs too. God. So annoying.
Yeah. Okay, so Captain Trimps is going to clear this in like 2 shots. Oh, he's not actually going for the minions, which I guess is fine. So they do get a little bit back, right? Captain Trimps was reset at a time where they weren't able to do something, but now, look at that. Trevor, he has to back like right now. Oh my god.
Oh! So 3 in a row. Call him Sniper Man. Yep. Looking pretty good.
Can we call that like an eagle?
Sure,
is that the golf eagle?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what is it? It's if you nail 3 if you nail 3, what is that called? I don't even know. What's the 3 in 1? I don't know.
I don't know. Normally it's like my initial instinct is to say a hat trick, right?
A hat trick?
Like soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the question is, because I think a birdie is if you nail a hole twice before you're supposed to, but then if you miss all 3, that's if you miss 1 or 2, that's a bogey, double bogey, right?
Right. I thought a birdie was 1 under par, and then an eagle is 2 under par.
Oh sure, yeah. Okay, so then how about if you nail all of it, that means it's par. If you nail 3 or nail any more shots before that, then it's like birdie and whatever else. I don't know golf terms. I don't watch that sport. Whatever it is. It's I don't know, Birdie, Par, and Bogey. That's all I know.
Yeah. All right, Tempos gets out. We're good. Captain Shrimps is alive.
That's all that matters, guys. We're watching the golfer honestly nail shots. This is probably the best golf game I've ever seen.
True, true. I mean, it really is kind of like a solo game
Yeah.
at this point. But hey, Captain Shrimps isn't here, so Mirage are actually doing what they really need to. And they are prioritizing getting these attacks where Captain Shrimps isn't, but now they need to survive.
All right, there's one, there's two, there's three. All right, he gets a par. He nails off 4, but unfortunately doesn't get the kill. Wixie's going to see if he can try and see if he can assassinate anyone else down. Good knockup from the ultimate from Tempos. He's going to stall the Dragoon out. But look at all those low health bars on Mirage's side. Paul Fortran gets used to see if he can return,
nice.
but a good shield to stop any sort of re-engage has been there. Look at Captain Shrimps, man. He is nailing all these artillery shots by himself. And guess what? He's still alive. Cloud9, they're all with full health bars. Now this is where they take the Baron.
Yep, Captain Shrimps was alive. He was never under threat, so it's very difficult. But now the teleport comes through. Captain Shrimps might get caught.
Oh, a good wall from DNA is going to force Captain Shrimps flash over here, but take a look at Trevor. He is very low on HP. Meech's going to see if he can try and lifesteal. They just stopped the Baron at the end of it, so it means that they're able to make sure that neutral objective isn't in Cloud9's hands.
Yeah, that's really big. That's really nice for them to pick up. But the thing is, like, the longer this game goes, the stronger Xerath becomes, right? So this is the impossible situation for Mirage, is they have to not just stop things from happening, they need to continue taking turrets, and they have done a fantastic job at identifying where Captain Shrimps isn't, which is how they've gotten 2 mid lane turrets. So if they ever find like a big teamfight win, they can win the game almost instantly off of that, but it's getting harder and harder for them to even get a teamfight started.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking maybe Meech just tries to be a split push threat. He has the Essence Reaver and the Kraken Slayer. He might be able to take some of these guys in a 1-on-1, maybe a 1-on-2. I'm not too sure, but it's very clear that them sitting as 5-man isn't looking too hot.
No. I mean, if they can find, again, if they find engagers onto people like in the jungle, so if they start getting a lot of vision control in places where they can't see, it would be really good. And if you can force your opponents into like really awkward choke points where you can start fighting these engagers, it'll work. But you got to do that relatively soon, because you have about 2 minutes before this Ocean Soul dragon spawns, and then it really becomes super, super scary because you can't walk at them. But finding Speedo, I guess we haven't really talked about that. You can just kill a split pusher.
That's true. Call of Fortune doesn't land. Speedo is in a 1 versus 2, and he's definitely going to fall down to the wayside. DNA is here to provide any sort of support that were to occur, but with 1 member down,
you can't
might
hit
give
the
him a
Baron.
trigger
You
to
guys
do
are
it.
nuts.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can go for. This is where the poke comes in. Captain Shrimps is still alive. Look at that Arcano Pulse. So much.
You can't hit this Baron, and you don't have the Orn ultimate.
They definitely started it, Josh.
They did.
This is the right one. DNA's very low. 12k. DNA's getting poked out by a lot. 7k now. Almost Baron. 5k falling in. Dragoon trying to intercept. XU over the wall. Smite Seal goes in.
Oh, they get it.
Not too sure who got it.
God.
Actually, it looks like Mirage did manage to claim it for themselves. And Capture's alive, Josh, but they managed to make it out with all 5 members with the Baron.
They played that. Cloud9 played that way more cautiously than they needed to. Like, there is no Orn ultimate, there are no aggressive ways for Mirage to walk forward, but Captain Shrimp still decided to stay on the far side of the Baron pit. Like, you can walk around and corral them into the pit where it's like shooting fish in a barrel, but we'll see. Like, this is actually really big, because now for the first time, Mirage have minions that aren't instantly cleared by Xerath every time they walk up. So they can actually build priority in the mid lane and maybe start taking this Ocean Dragon, but it's still so hard for them to walk through and actually get some of these fights started. So pay attention to how much damage they take before this Ocean Dragon actually spawns.
Did manage to get choked out. Shield isn't down. So
Shrimps is dead.
Captain Shrimps! They found Captain Shrimps! And now they're looking to see if they can push with the Baron buff. This might be it, Josh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. They actually killed the most important member on the map, and now they can try and find something. But what are they going to do? Are they going to pick up this Ocean Dragon? They do need to pick it up at some point, right?
Yeah.
But by the time they're done with this, Captain Shrimp is going to be alive again, and he's going to be able to stop them from cracking the inhibitor. So
if they did it once, they can do it again.
they can do it again. Yeah,
they can do it again. Yeah. So let's see if they can find one of those openings here. Good job on DNA to actually force a shield from
Yes,
Tempos.
yes.
So I think that's the other way they have to find the avenue. But they're looking to see if they can pressure all these lanes now, and they're sitting in the bottom side quadrants of Cloud9's jungle here. Meech's actually looking to turn right on a Speedo as he's looking to see if he can fight a one-on-one. But Meech may have stepped up a little bit too far. Flash away comes in, misses one shot, misses two. That's a double bogey already for Captain Shrimps, so that's not looking too good. Managed to land three, so double bogey isn't too bad, but Shrimps is now back in to see if he can salvage stop the pressure from Mirage.
Yeah, we'll see. You just gotta hit the other team right now. So Meech is still very low. Like 1 or 2 Arcana pulses coming out from Captain Shrimps would actually finish him off, and so it's gonna force Mirage to reset once again. They've actually been overall. They've been doing a pretty darn good job at keeping this game in a spot where they can win, as we see that Cloud9 have actually lost all of their gold.
Yeah, they definitely have. Joe, thanks for the fix. I just want to make sure we're good.
Love you, Joe.
Love you, Joe. It was a little bit worrisome if they only had 1,000 in the bank, you know. That would be too good.
It's all good, but it's pretty. It is a pretty interesting situation. Is 63 kills, only 6. It has been fixed, but the question is, like, Cloud9, if they play a little bit more cleanly, and if they like bring this death ball with insane range to bear, I don't think it's easy for Mirage to continue to pick things up, as defenders' advantage is getting stronger and stronger the farther they end up pushing onto the red side of the map. And with 3 minutes until the Ocean Soul spawns again, and 2.5 minutes until the Baron spawns, it's hard for them to force Cloud9 to do anything.
Yeah, honestly, for Cloud9, I'm just sad about it. Man. Like, you mentioned the draft. You mentioned the draft that the hard pivot versus draft means that Renekton is like no value. Yes, he has a Gordricker and a Blade Room King, but he's a sad alligator.
Nice. They're doing a fantastic job at splitting the map. This is really good for Mirage. The fact that they're able to play this style as well is insane. And now, Wixie?
Yeah, falling very low from the collateral damage and the frostbite, but it means that they're able to pressure on this middle inhibitor. This is a great way for Mirage to actually find an opening. I really like what they're doing right now as they call for the retreat coming in. X2 is going to see if he can land some spears on the back end of it, but hitting Ornn isn't going to do anything, and Mirage, they're just kind of running away with whatever they're stealing.
Yeah, I am actually really impressed with Mirage, because a lot of teams would get really antsy and frustrated trying to play against this Xerath, and I'm honestly one of them. I get so frustrated playing against Xerath, but they're willing to say, we don't need to fight. We just need to hit the structures, and then we can back away. And they are successfully doing that. They're successfully going where Captain Shrimps is not. They bait him over to one place, and they quickly pivot somewhere else. And it is putting them in a situation where I hesitate to say favored, because, again, it's almost impossible to end the game as long as Captain Shrimps is alive, and he is now sitting on 2.5 items, 2 and 2.5 items as the Xerath. But it's very doable. They don't even need to kill the rest of the team. They just need to kill Captain Shrimps, and then they can end.
Yeah, that's just a big question mark. Can you take down the Queen? The Queen can move anywhere across the map, but it's pretty tough. You definitely have to force Captain Shrimps to make an error, you know. But this is the next round coming up in the next minute, Josh. And it is soul point for Cloud9. If they get this, it's going to be Ocean Soul. It means that they're able to survive.
Teleport
but this is where Mirage is
Dragoon.
coming through. The Dragoon, and also everyone else are looking to see if they can make a party here. They're seeing if they can find Captain Shrimps. He might be looking to get caught out. Danny's looking to go forward with everyone. They found Captain Shrimps. They're going to be calling everyone down. We see Speedo in the middle of all three, but look at Meech and look at Wixie. Wixie managed to take down everyone else on the backside. Finally, Captain Shrimps is still alive, but with everyone else going down, it is still 2 versus 4. Mirage are going to see if they can clean up, but now they have to run away. Rod of the Arcane comes too. That's 2 of them. Nails 3, Nails 4, Nails 5. That's a par, but a quadra kill for Wixie as he's looking to see if chase everyone else down. 40-second death timers left. Josh and Mirage are scattered.
Oh no, wait. Do they have the health bars to actually end? I don't think they're going for it, but they tunnel so hard onto Captain Shrimps because they identify he's the one that they actually need to kill, but they don't actually remember that the rest of the team still has a ton of burst damage. DNA goes so far forward and Speedo ends up going over the wall, and look at how much damage he's able to do to everyone all at once. Just bursting half the team. Wixie gets in and barely able to stay in a spot where he can keep himself alive. Instant double, gets a triple, and ends up with a quadra kill when all is said and done. And as you can see in the bottom left of your screen, they're going to get the Ocean Soul as well. And Ocean Soul on poke compositions is disgusting, because whenever you're like, hey guys, I'm feeling a little bit low, I don't have a lot of health in my health bar, you're just like, oh, let me just hit them.
Let me just throw something at him. And this is now we're back to a very worse mistake from Mirage. We were giving them a lot of credit for them to find some counterattack coming in. They're opting in for another counterattack on the top side. They're doing this very fast. Start down 3K. It's already melting, man. God damn, that was a fast Baron as about seen one.
All right, okay. So it becomes plausible that they actually have an opportunity to try and take down multiple inhibitors. But other than that, if they have to wait the 5 minutes for these next set of objectives to spawn, it's going to be really, really tough for them to survive that whole time, simply because this Ocean Soul does so much for their team. Speedo is once again in a spot where he should consistently win these side lane fights, and of course, as we already identified, poke compositions with the Ocean Soul are insane.
Yeah, it's you got to see what they can do. They're sitting on a couple wards for Mirage. Just yeah, they found, I think they only found 2 openings on a Captain Shrimps, I think.
Yeah, and he lived one of them.
They're trying to see, and he lived one of them. Oh, it's so tall. It's such a tall orb. It's like fighting at Samus with being a stock down. It's not looking too good.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
But here we go. Okay, so this is good. They are trying to find a pick here off on the side. XU doesn't get stunned up in that situation, but they do have the minions actually impacting the turret. They have 2 cannon minions, and they don't instantly die to Xerath right now, so opportunity is there. Them to actually try and take this down.
Yeah, but look at Cloud9. They're all in the flank. All the guy gets used on Shrimps. Doesn't land, so he's actually perfectly fine. DNA has to see if he can stop anyone else from progressing. Yo, look at Mirage. They're looking just advance through the base, and they're looking just death ball against this poke composition. I love what DNA's using later.
He went in.
Now Speedo goes in, but Speedo's already going to fall down from everyone else. You take a look at all the poke from Captain Shrimps. Everyone is pretty damn low, but Leech and Trevor gets sniped out with the Arcano Pulse. That's going to call the retreat horns, but now we take a look at Cloud9. They're walking down the mid lane.
Oh man, Captain Shrimps can try and stop them from recalling while the rest of Cloud9 marches down the mid lane. Okay, here we go. If Play Emotional can actually buy enough space so that Anivia can back, okay, they're actually going to be able to get back, and I don't think at this point that Cloud9 can end, but they definitely pick up the inhibitor now and continue to buy time for their own team.
Emotional is here. Wall is going to catch on XU. That's going to be a lot of damage already. But look at Wixie. He's going to go in already, but you do not want to hit the Graves base taking everyone. Look at it. Oh, look at Emotional. He's actually going to actually take down Wixie. Top one's going to call it in too. It is a one-man trying to see if he can defend everyone else, but Shrimps is now here. Going a great little hourglass from Emotional too. My God, this guy is putting on a show, everyone. 8-0-2. He holds on the defense.
Oh man. Alright, so they are able to hold the game, but they end up losing 2 members on Cloud9 Amateur. But remember, the most important member on the map is still alive. Captain Shrimps on Xerath now has a Void Staff completed, and we'll see if they can actually do a whole lot about this. They do not have the Baron buff anymore, so it's going to be rather difficult for them to actually keep their minions alive through this whole thing. We'll see what they can do. They don't have Anivia. This might be it.
Bro, Emotional and Trevor are just walking down the mid lane by himself.
Yeah, they're just hitting it.
We haven't even talked about Emotional. He's 8-0-2 with the shield bow, with the Infinity Edge, and with the Collector. Dragoon is going to play, is going to be a distraction for Speedo and Tempos, but the base is right now in shambles for Cloud9 Academy as top and middle inhibitor are falling down. Eldrake spawning in 2 minutes, Josh, and it's getting even more dangerous coming in.
It's so tense. Everything is so tense right now, Will, because it is such a macro-oriented game, as we see once again Cloud9 finding an immense amount of kills.
It's so tense. Our producer gave Cloud9 144 kills, bro. That's how tense it is.
Love you, Joe.
147 now. Oh my
What
God.
for? It's more, even
They're
more.
getting more. I don't know where these end these kills, bro. They're getting a lot.
Maybe they're counting minion kills too. But anyway.
There we go.
Okay.
It's back down 14.
We figured it out. But yeah, okay, so with the double inhibitors down, this is actually really good for Mirage. They can start to move bot lane, and it's very difficult for Cloud9 to actually deal with these super minions in the side lane. They still have another 2-3 waves of super minions up in the top lane. They still have like 4 or like 6 or 7 waves in the mid lane. So that's like 4 minutes of just extra pressure on the rest of the map that Mirage are actually able to bring. And if they do it right, if they wait for all these super minions to crash at roughly the same time, that's so much pressure just going in naturally, and it's going to pull people away for so long that they might be able to pick up not only the bottom lane inhibitor, but potentially looking at this Elder or Baron.
Yeah, I also like the shift of what Emotional has done too, picking up the Guardian's Angel for himself to make sure he stays alive in this next couple fights, because it's honestly going to be do or die around this Elder Drake here. And also along with that, Dragoon has already upgraded all of the mythic items for the rest of his team here, so they're sitting on a lot of bonus stats, even though the gold doesn't reflect. And honestly, gold doesn't even matter at this point, Josh. It's literally come down to, who can get this Elder Drake, who can set this up, and also, what kind of poke can Captain Shrimps and XU and Wixie can land. Because if they don't land anything, it's going to be very tough.
Absolutely. So we'll see. We have a dragon spawning in a bit over a minute at this point. Everybody else... Oh, it's already spawned.
Oh.
Okay.
We're getting nerves, man. It's 120. Look at the Eldritch actually being melted. Cloud9 has no idea that they're going to be 4 going in. This is where they can actually start a fight. Dragoon's looking to go in. Actually on the backside, but it's a 3 versus 5 on the top end. Tempos is already down. The Call of Fortune lands on Captain Shrimps. Flash has to go forward, but look at 1 versus 2 on the bottom. 1 versus 2 on the bottom side. And unfortunately, we're going to go out to the cams. Hi. We were talking about them. Oh, okay. Yeah. We just heard from our producers that the game paused. In the middle of my play, man. I was getting hyped.
All right.
I was getting hyped.
Well, that was very interesting time for the game to suddenly
pause.
When the game was about to realistically end one way or another, into it.
Okay.
So yeah, let's see how this actually goes down.
Okay, well, Dina actually gets jumped on and actually going to fall down. 3 of them are in the mid lane. We see Captain Shrimp sniping down Meech.
Oh
no
my
wild
God,
growth here, but they are on the retreat. 2 people go down because of Emotional fighting a 1 versus 2 against Speedo and XU. So now this means that they are able to get the Baron.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it might actually end up being 1-1. This game is, again, so tense. There are 40 seconds before Play Emotional and DNA come back up, and that gives a huge opportunity for Cloud9 to be aggressive with this Baron buff, but they have to be careful. There are minions hitting their inhibitor in the top lane, and also their bottom lane inhibitor turret is under threat. So, it looks like we might get to reset, right? One team still has the Elder Dragon, one team has the Baron buff. Inhibitors are down. If anybody wins a team fight at this point, it's game.
Yeah,
That's just it.
Yeah, very nervous here. As you can see, the overlay has changed, so Joe's going to be fixing all of that overall, so we're not going to get all the cool little graphics. Unfortunately, we're going to go back to the base stuff on the broadcast, but it's not going to matter because this game is so hype. Josh, it's been a push and pull the entire time. If anyone's just tuning in right now, 45 minutes in, Cloud9 is on their last leg, and they're definitely putting in a lot of work to make sure they stay alive in this Challengers Uprising New Year's Showdown. It's
Remember
14
when
to 16,
Wixie got a
but,
quadra kill?
Yeah.
That happened this game.
Yeah, I know. It felt like 200 years, bro.
Yeah, it feels like it's been forever at this point. And now they're just kind of chilling in their base. I feel like they could be aggressive, right? They still have Elder on Meech, Dragoon, and Trevor. And do they have an item completion coming out from Anivia? Okay, there's an item completion for Graves.
Yep.
But I don't think you win by sitting back in your base and letting the poke composition come to you with a Baron buff. That seems not good.
Maybe they're doing their best impression playing Bloons tower defense, number 6. It looks like that's the case. I mean,
Hey,
waiting for everyone to come through. Yeah, any Blooners? I know Cubby and Sam have gotten all of us addicted to that game. But for everyone else, Yeah, very questionable that Mirage are just sitting in their base, letting some things fall away. So that's going to be the plan, because right now they're knocking on the bottom inhibitor.
Yeah, and the Elder Dragon is gone.
Yeah.
Right? It's gone from Dragoon, it's gone from Meech, it's gone from Trevor, and now they have to try and find a fight perfectly into the hands of the way that Cloud9 want to be playing. So they got to find something relatively soon, and I'm a bit surprised that Speedo is kind of chilling where he is instead of just hitting the mid lane inhibitor, because it's still close, right? Like, this poke means that you can stick around for such a long time, just slowly wearing everybody down.
I mean, it definitely is. One little Arcana Pulse knocked out a third of Emotional's hit points. If DNA takes one, it's definitely going to be a big cost too. Like taking just a W from Wixie. So it's definitely whittling away. Oh, no, gets stunned on the DNA. DNA's going to fall down. That might just be the trigger for everyone else of Cloud9 to advance forward a lot more. They're looking for the middle inhibitor. Meech is going to see if he can hold out for the defense, but that's one crucial member being down.
That is huge. That is their wave clear up against his Baron buff. And suddenly they lose the mid lane inhibitor. They still have waves crashing in the bottom side. Speedo now free to move around, and Dragoon gonna have to try and find some engage, but Tempo is just sitting there daring him to press the RT.
Yeah, man, Shrimp's just laying down the artillery fire, laying down the mortars from coming in. They're already taking down the middle and the bottom inhibitor now. Look at that poke, man. The Arcane Pulse does so much. Now activating the right of the Arcane. Misses the first, nails the second, misses the third, misses the fourth, nails the fifth. So that's a triple bogey for him. But look at Meech. He's going to see if he can take down Speedo. Call the Forge Out gets used. Tempos doesn't manage to land the block, but they're all still pretty healthy. And we take a look at Dragoon. He has to dash away. We do see everyone else like looking to go. Meech has to see if he can back away while Ghost gets used on him. But everyone else is still on the turrets for Cloud9. They're knocking everything else down. This is the last defense, but I'm not sure if they can hold, because everyone else is already tackling it down, and that means Cloud9 is going to take game 2.